Okay, so we're ready to go look at the drum mode. When I click on drum mode, a few things happen immediately. Some colors change, the navigation menu updated, but you have to understand what you're looking at, okay? In drum mode, we can think of it as FPC mode because the default drum mode is going to be always FPC centric, okay? We look at our nav, remember these first two represent the channel, so we can bring up the plugin by clicking that. But let me tell you how things are laid out, okay? The first two banks represent the FPC banks, A and B. Now on the FPC on the screen, you can see it's got two banks filled in, and those colors are represented in the area on the device, okay? If we go on the device to the third bank area, what do you see there? You see three things listed in there, and the rest are empty. And those three things are actually all of the FPCs that are in this project. If I had 16 FPCs, this would be filled. What this lets me do is quickly select between my FPCs. Real quick, real easy. And then within those, I can obviously go into the piano rolls and do what I need to do. Okay? So that's why this is called FPC mode. You have your snap here, quick and easy to get to, because if you're recording a drum beat, you probably want this on a reasonable setting so that it will quantize for you. Additionally, so you could hear where we're at. Let me turn that up. Okay, and then you also have your note repeat, which is the orange. The top orange will light and unlight, meaning your note repeat is on or off. The bottom button, which is orange, as you click it, you'll see in the display here what the repeat speed is. For example, it currently says quarter. When I hold down, let me turn it on, hold it down. So it's repeating at a quarter note speed. I could set this to 16th, right? Maybe you'd use it for doing like hi-hat rolls, and you might want it on like 64th. And then you could get those hi-hat rolls like that. But I'm going to turn it off because generally, that's a limited feature. But this is FPC, aka drum mode. You do have access to the up, down, left, right grid. Also, you cannot turn the grid off in this mode because there's just nothing for me to utilize the space for at the moment. But this is FPC mode, so that changes as needed. Now, let's say, let me just record a simple beat. Okay, let's see. Oh, looks like I had a beat there. What's going on? Okay. No problemo, man. Let's go back to that one. Oh, one thing you have to be super aware of is FL Studio has to have focus for these cut and copy functions to work. I clicked out to go do something in my OBS or whatever, and if it's not active, the copy cut doesn't work. Let's go back to the drum mode. Actually, I don't have to record anything because I have a pattern here. And if I hit play, you can see it's trying to play back what I had recorded previously. Okay, so there's that. You can also turn that option off. There is a caveat with any playback within the FL Studio API. You can only get one note. What that means is if I was hitting the kick and the cymbal simultaneously, only one of those will light up. It doesn't affect the playback, okay? but just be aware of that. That's just how it functions. Okay, so with respect to the FPC integration, this has a pretty deep integration in terms of you can see that the colors are already emulated down here, so that if you get used to blue, for example, always being your kicks, won't matter the kit, you'll know where they're located. But you could make your own kits, as I do, and you're all good. As a matter of fact, I have a kit here. It's just all cymbals. I have one that's all hats, one that's all snares, etc. This kit is one of the built-in kits, and you could see how the colors changed to reflect what's on the screen there. Additionally, each pad within a kit can have its volume, pan, and filter set from the device. For example, we'll take this clap. If I hold down the pad, the first three knobs will affect it. I could turn down the volume, up the volume. I could control the pan. And I can control the the tuning. And with all three, of course, the screen is displaying the fine details of how many cents or to the left, to the right, depending on the parameter being tweaked. I wanted to point that out, make sure you understand that this integrates very deeply with the FPC. Okay, so that's drum mode. Very FPC centric, I know. But you can also go into alt drum mode. In alt drum mode, what happens is you get these kind of generic looking pad sections in different colors. You also have over here your nav grid, right? The nav grid is there, so you can access your windows and things as expected. But let's talk about what these functions here do. There's a couple of new functions right here. In this mode, let me go to a, let me go and we'll come back to drum mode. I'm in a non-drum instrument, just so you can hear how the note mapping is in this mode. You hear that? That's my lowest note. And the note will build up through the bank. It won't go all the way across. It will build up through the color, right? So it'll go. And after that, it'll go. Right? And it'll do that through the banks. The blue buttons here will adjust the lowest octave. So you can hear how low it can go, right? So you could set that and then it would affect the others accordingly. You can also turn off the grid. Oh, you get the same grid as the original drum, so you can have note repeat if needed. But if you turn, and you have the up, down, left, right grid, if you turn off the grid, you'll get in a whole other bank to use. So if you don't need the grid in the moment, but you need 4 banks, you have access to that. I'm going to turn the grid back on, and I'm going to show you this magenta button. It's special because what it does is it changes the alternate drum layout from banks. It's now using octave strips. So every color is going to be 1 octave, and every octave is going to be a different color. So that's what you're seeing here. If I was to hit play, actually, let me go back to the pattern that had the drum beat in it. And you'll notice you don't see it playing here. If I go to, we may need to adjust. There we go. But what I've done is it was outside the range that you could see it with the octaves. It was below that. So what I've done is I've raised it up, which pushed it up an octave, and now I can see how it's playing. I could push it up again and it'll appear over here. Now when I turn this into the lines, you can see how it's mapped differently. And lines versus pads versus even the original. So even though you can see they're lighting different things, but they remap themselves appropriately. If you're in this mode, the strip mode, and you turn off the nav menu, you'll get full use, but the strips, because they're only one octave, end after 12 and the next color starts, leaving you with this kind of offset looking color. But the reason that for me I left it this way is because I thought it might be important for you to know where your octaves start and end. And using this method on a 16 width is, you know, you'd use the color to help you indicate what's going on there. And that can be used in SliceX. I actually have a SliceX somewhere. Let me go to, let me bring up this, make sure I'm in my channel. Let me navigate to my SliceX and let me hit play. Okay, so you can see how SliceX is starting on this blue one. Let me go into the pad mode so we can. Okay, so you can see where it's starting. I may want it to start over here, so that's why I'll mess with the octave here. And now I have it starting at the bottom as I want to. And now let me go into the other mode, restart it. So there you go. That is drum mode.